What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Latin Explaining with Denise. I hope everybody is doing okay. I am so happy to be with you guys in this evening. It's Monday, March 3rd. Happy Women's Month. Tomorrow is National or International Sons Day. So, shout out to my baby boy. He got his little shot today. Anyway, I want to say hi to the people that already started the chat. So I see Jose. Hey, bendición, Jose. I see Abdullah Bin Bobby at Tab. He's the first like. Shout out to him. And I see Trent Boyer. Hey, he's also from San Diego, California. I'm an Angelino. What's up, Los Angeles? Now, to everybody that's coming in, I want to remind you guys to hit the like button. If you have not done so, subscribe to this channel before we have some problems. And also make sure you hit that bell for notifications. So every time that I go live, you get notified. Because you guys know that I am very random lately. Mom life, every aspect of my life has been thrown off in the last 2 years or so. For many reasons that you guys already know. I see that Titi Juju is already here. What's up, Morena? It's nice to have you around. I've been off for a few weeks with my pissed off Mondays. I get it, but I'm back. Okay, I am back. You guys know the circumstances surrounding that, but pissed off Mondays are back. And we are going to roast and we are going to embarrass the people that are angry at us over here because you guys know that that's what we do. Because obviously, in this channel, I cannot speak for other channels, but on this channel, we go based on what is printed and what is factual. So for sure, that's what we're gonna do. I see that Tremboye says California is a mess. We have to fix all this, Denise. Absolutely. California is a dumpster fire. If you know, you know. We're a dumpster fire and we're eating avocado toast on our way to solve this problem. That's what's up. Now, guys, you guys know that there's a lot of stuff happening with this administration. It's been crazy. It's been over a month. I believe it's what, 6 weeks in. There's a lot of stuff happening. Donald Trump has done more in 6 weeks than I think government has done in like 12 years. And there's a lot of talk. And one thing before I start today's I don't want to say roasting session, but it is gonna be a roasting session. One thing that I want to say about this administration that I actually appreciate is that every day they are coming up with some heavy news. There's something major happening every day, to the point that if you do commentary on news, or if you do any type of media, or if you are like a well established news channel, it's going to be very hard for you to keep up with what's going on or comment in depth. Like it minimizes the propaganda that you can make, because by the time that you're already getting to try to like indoctrinate the public to look at a certain piece of news on a certain way, something major is happening. Like just 3 weeks ago, we were talking about Doge, and we were talking about like the $5,000 Doge dividend just 2 weeks ago. And that was major because that was what clouded the illegal migrants ICE deportations. I don't know if you guys have noticed that we're not hearing about that as much as we used to, because now 2 weeks after the Doji scandal and whatever the hell, now we have the Ukraine situation going on. And before you come at me, I'm gonna say, you guys know I am for sale politically. I am an American that is for sale. I go where my interests rest. Yes, I've supported Donald Trump before, twice. This time around, I did not, because I value the self identification or the self preservation of Puerto Rican rights over what Donald Trump presented for my people. And Jill Stein was that person. Now, I'm not mad that he won. I think out of him and Kamala, 100%, he was the best option. Now I see that Tremboye says the only thing giving me hope is Donald Trump. It's like it's Christmas every day. 100%. 100%. I don't agree with 100% of the stuff that he does, but to be honest, we cannot expect him to give us everything. but I would say 90% of the stuff he does, I agree with. And that's what's up. I cannot see why you'll be mad that he is doing prioritizing American workers, bringing manufacturing here. I don't know if you guys heard about Taiwan bringing ship manufacturing here to the United States. Is going to create 20,000 jobs. I don't know if you guys saw that news. I'm going to talk about that later on during the week. But he is definitely bringing jobs back in and manufacturing back to the United States. I cannot see why you'll be mad at that. I cannot see why you'll be mad at Donald Trump wanting peace. I cannot see why you'll be mad at Donald Trump wanting to give you a tax refund of $5,000. If you're mad at those things, then I'm sorry, but like something is very wrong with you. I'm sorry. He's like, Trimble, yes, says, me neither. I am Puerto Rican, but I am American first. 100%. 100%. Here in this channel, I've said it several times. I am Latina. I am proud to be a Puerto Rican. Yo amo mi isla, amo mi gente, but America was the land and the country that gave me the opportunity to uplift myself in from a dire economical situation, which is what our people are going through in the island. And it has been the home for many people that have struggled throughout the world. And the least we can give Americans is their respect for their country, their culture, and also support them in their path to position themselves before everybody else. They have that right. They've earned that right. And if we're here stuffing ourselves with the benefits of their country, then we have to support Americans. Stop the nonsense. Hey, I see Don Armando. He says, Hola, Denise and Mulato Vanguard. Oh, my God. Don't start with that, Don Armando. We're grown folk over here. Jose says, what about the thousands of federal employees losing their jobs without due process? I will talk about that briefly, Jose. You want to know what's crazy? I talked about this 3 years ago. And a lot of folks kept insulting me and for no reason. And I, as much as I do feel for the federal employees, that's one thing I don't necessarily agree with Donald Trump, which is firing federal employees. That is very sad. I don't agree with that, because at the end of the day, we're not firing Congress, right? We're not firing senators that we know are self-serving. And we're firing like regular American workers, middle class Americans, and that's not too patriotic, right? But more on that later. Unless you're U.S. aid, yeah, I'm sorry. That's just, I don't agree with that. That's the 10%, Jose, that I don't agree with Donald Trump. Morena says, "Are we?" Yeah, Morena, we are. We have to be. Now, in this episode of Pissed Off Mondays, a lot of people has come at me on my social media, on comments that I posted on different news feeds, and also even on the past stream that I've done, right? That I did, I'm sorry. And basically because they consider me now a Russian agent. If you in America are trying to tell Ukrainians that they cannot back up their desires for being a sovereign country with any military response that can stop Russia from whatever it is they want, then unfortunately you'll be deemed as a Russian agent, a Russian asset, a bootlicker, a problematic, a person that's pro-genocide. I don't know where that comes from. And for the person or the people that claim that I was pro-genocide, I'm just going to say something. I'm not going to say names, but I'm just going to address your comments. Genocide is when there's a peaceful group of people that have a civilization and they're minding their business. And then there's another group of people that targets them specifically for who they are and wipes them out or kills a large portion of their people, trying to do ethnic cleansing, right? That's what's considered genocide. Now, if you go to war and you're a country and you go to war and you're losing millions of soldiers just because you are the one being killed the most, that's not a genocide. I'm just gonna put that out there. Just stop being dramatic and stop being sensitive. So, to the person that's made that comment, I just want to clarify that I'm not pro genocide, because genocide is what's happening in Gaza, and I'm not for ethnic cleansing. That's another thing that I disagree with Donald Trump, which is his being a puppet for Israel. But that's a topic for another day. But that is ethnic cleansing. That is what a genocide is. This is not what's happening here. What happened in Armenia is, it will be considered a genocide. This is not a genocide. You're just losing the war. I see Logic's Finest here says Clinton fired 350K federal employees, and people have forgotten that. He also closed more military bases than any president. That also hurt the small towns around the bases. No Democrats remember that. That's true. That is 100% true. But people, you know that people are people are really colorist. Like, they hate when orange people do the same things that everybody else does. So orange people need to advocate for their rights, right? Orange lives matter. Trent Boyer says, if you cannot defend your country on your own, you shouldn't be a country, period. 100%. It's the same thing I try to explain to a lot of people. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm proud of my roots. I'm proud of my people. But we have to understand, we don't have the military infrastructure to make demands to America and to be sovereign. And we got massacres. America militarized Puerto Rico. America tortured Puerto Ricans, exported Puerto Ricans, until we came to terms that, hey, we are ripe for the taking. We're so much of a tiny island. We don't have the capacity to fight these people off. And if you don't have that, then you don't have a country. You're just a colony, our territory. So, and I'm not saying I'm in full support of that. I am not, right? But that is just the real world, and it's time for people to start growing up. That's something I miss from Silent Generation, is that those people used to live in a reality where they understood, hey, we're gonna fight this out, but if we lose, we lose, and we have to understand that that's the real world, right? War is not a good thing, and it's not something that I pander to, and I don't like to see people dying, and I don't like to see cultures merging or being crushed upon. However, there's always going to be a larger country that's going to try to impose itself if you are a smaller country with no military backing. And if you cannot comprehend that in big 2025, after so many wars have happened throughout the world, then I am sorry, but you either have what Joe Biden has, or you need to seek help. That there's no other way I can say it. Even take Russia, for example. Russia has been conquered many times throughout history. If you look at their history, they had to fight back for their own country and their autonomy and their sovereignty. So this is not new. This is not new. America itself, America was one way at some point, and the Brits came, then they imposed themselves, and then Americans got tired of that, and they had to fight for the right to be free, and in 1776 established the United States of America. So it's not new. It's just that Ukrainians are like crying because they're losing the war. It's plain and simple. Now, I don't know if you guys can hear me. If you guys can hear me, please put a number 1 in the chat. I'm not sure if you guys can hear it, but I see Logic's Finest says a minerals deal puts Americans in the border areas in Ukraine, which is a security guarantee without soldiers. Let's put in the safe face. Ukraine rebuild. Americans make money. A win-win for everyone. You know what's crazy, Logics? I don't think. I think the majority of those minerals, if I'm not mistaken, are mostly on the sites that Russia has already taken. So it will be very hard. I don't think that deal is doable. That's my opinion, of course. I'm not an expert on war. I don't work for the Department of Defense. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's my understanding that Ukraine does not have the minerals to pay us like the $1 trillion that is expected for them to pay us. And I'm gonna expand a little bit on that. Back in 2022, when this was happening, this war started, there was an option for Zelensky to come to terms with peace. Like, he was supposed to come to the table and talk about peace, right? And he chose not to. Back then, Uh, Ukraine had more terrain. It was still standing. There was not million of lives lost. Uh, and they didn't have to make a deal to concede their minerals to no other country. So I don't know. I don't think, maybe from my perspective, I don't think ego and sovereignty should come at the cost of terrain, resources, life. Like, it's just, I don't see the benefit of what Ukrainians are fighting for. Like, I literally don't. I think we'll get in that more about that later, but I don't think that they made the right move by going into this war, and we're gonna understand why. One of the things that I've heard a lot from people is, oh, Ukraine has the right to fight for its sovereignty. Look, Ukraine has no right to demand that people help them out in any way for doing anything. And they are claiming that the Budapest memorandum be enforced. Before we get that, I'm gonna say something, because a lot of people, oh, you guys are just dumb. You just don't know enough. You just don't know what's happening. You don't know how this conflict broke out. You're predicting things that you don't know are gonna happen. I'm gonna show you guys what I said 3 years ago. Mind you, I didn't have all the information, but from my research, I could come back then. I came to a few conclusions of what was going to happen if we were, in fact, going into the war. Now, I want to show you the date, right? This was streamed. I don't know if you guys can see it here. 3 years ago, right here below Latin Explaining, you're going to see it right here. This was streamed 3 years ago. You see? That's when I streamed that. So that puts us at the beginning of 2022, right before the war started. Right? And I want you to hear closely the stuff that I said. Okay? Let's take a listen. Now, guys, a lot has been said lately about what's going on and the crisis between Ukraine and Russia. And I know a lot of people are asking themselves, are we going into WW3? What is happening right now? Why we're backing up Russia? Blah, 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 blah. Oh my God. Look, I'm going
We're
to highlight
backing
something that
Ukraine.
Marquis said over here. He says the USA should leave NATO. We don't need them. They need us. Europe has been at peace and hmm, developed because they haven't had to spend money on defense. No one is going to mess with the USA. I mean, you want me to tell you the truth, Marquis? I agree with you 100%. I think, but I think, and this is my personal opinion, I think that the problem is that it's too late for us to leave NATO. I mean, we still are the number one in several things, like our military. So of course we get to dictate the rules, but we're not going to do that. And the only reason we're not going to do that, I've said it many times here before, is because we're not controlled by the politicians you vote for. This is a dictatorship by corporations. The corporations that are pro war and all these people that are like bombarding the world are the ones that are running America. So even if Joe Biden or whoever is president next wants to make this happen, it's not going to happen. Even if Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of Defense, wants to do that and wants to withdraw from NATO, we're not going to do that because Raytheon pays these people. Okay, all of our politicians are literally feeding themselves and living in gluttony from all of the funds that come directly from all these pro-war companies. Now, I want you to take into consideration that I said this before we send $350 billion to Ukraine. Let's take a listen. America stopped being a democracy and is now run by corporations. It has been like that for the last 30 years, 40 years. So it's going to be very difficult for the US to stop going to war. Now, a lot of you guys know that due to the pandemic that we suffered in 2020, we already before the pandemic had a $25 trillion debt. Now, after the pandemic, we were in for $36 trillion in debt. That is not a Denise thing. That is just facts. That's what we're in for. We owe so much money that it's going to take the America, if we don't borrow anything else from the Federal Reserve, if we don't print a single dollar in the next 200 years, it's going to take us 227 years to pay off that debt, unless we minimize government or we do major cuts, starting with the military industrial complex. But we all know that's not going to happen. And today we're not necessarily going to discuss what will happen in the military industrial complex because we know exactly what's happening. But I'm going to highlight something that I discussed, and a lot of people messaged me, insulted me on Instagram for what I said. But I am just going to say this. Where's all the people that were yelling at us all 2020 because and we were called Trumpers, bootlickers, racist, because in their opinion Trump was racist, a troublemaker, he was going to push the red button and all this and that. Where was all these people that were yelling at us all 2020 on how we should vote for Joe Biden because he was going to bring peace, stability, and money and equality? Where is all these people right now? I hope that all of you guys that wanted to do this, because we did not vote for this demented individual, because he's demented. All of these people that voted for him, I hope that you're enlisted in the military, because if we go into WW3, Trumpers will not go. And I stand by that. I think I'm going to start a t-shirt. I'm gonna start a t-shirt that says I'm not, hashtag I'm not going. As a matter of fact, if you're listening to this and you agree with that, even though you've been called a Trumper, you've been called names, whatever you've been called, I want you to put it in the chat. Hashtag I am not going. Hashtag I'm not going. That should be the sentiment, because now we're being pressured to go into a war we don't want to fight. So I want you guys to understand. Back then, it was all the people that are angry today standing with Ukraine, fake standing with Ukraine. All those people are the ones now telling us that we're bigots, that we are bad because we don't want to side with Ukraine. All those same people back then were the ones cheering on this war. And I sorry to break it to you. If you're one of those that has that little flag on your profile and stuff, you go. You die for Ukraine. I'm not. America, thank you, Trent. I am not going. That is going to be my sentiment every time people bring war to us. Hashtag I'm not going. We're not going. If you feel for Ukraine, you go. This is a free country. You go. I'm going to make that really clear. And I want to encourage all the people that were called Trumpers, like myself, and many people that believe that the best option out of those two, I'm not saying he was perfect. I said out of those two, all the people like me that believe that the best option out of those two was Donald Trump, we are not going. Y'all are going. All the people that were crying after Joe Biden won and were making videos and all these celebrities, I hope that they just transition into the army and they go and fight that war, because we are not going. We are not going. We can't afford a war. We simply cannot. Okay, the country right now is in a very fragile state. Now, when we said that back then, right, a lot of people said that from like basic, very small content creators like myself to like very large content creators like Jimmy Dore, Tim Black, Philip Scott. When people said that, hey, Mulatto, what's up? When people said that back then, like us, that we could not afford a war, A lot of people told us that we needed to afford the war, that it was needed for us to support Ukraine. And they told us a whole list as to why we needed to afford this war, because people were not feeling it in their pockets. Back then, the gasoline was still somewhat cheap, groceries was still somewhat cheap, etc., etc. Look at today. Eggs are $13 out here if you don't want non-hormonal, non-antibiotic eggs. It's $13 here in California. At least in Los Angeles. I don't know if in San Diego is the same, but here in Los Angeles it's expensive. It's very expensive. Now let's take a listen. We don't have the money. We simply don't have it. We simply don't have the money. And I'm going to show you today one of the things that is one of the most disturbing things, because a lot of people think, oh, that's just happening over there in Russia and Ukraine. Let me tell you something. We depend so much on Russia, more than you would think, to the point that every time you go and purchase goods right now, and you see that those goods are more expensive, trust me, it's because of that. But first, before I start reading exactly how much we depend on Russia for these things, I'm going to read to you guys a document that was an article that was printed last year. Last year, March 24,
Pay attention.
2021, Javier Blas wrote this. Despite, it says, U.S. thirst for Russian oil hits record high despite the tough talk. It says, even as Washington champions energy independence and warns European allies against becoming too dependent on Moscow, American refineries are buying more of the country's oil than ever before. Now, if you guys look at the streamline that was bombarded by we know who, giving to sell liquid gas to Germany and other European countries, you guys know that this is a for-profit war. It's a war that's manufactured in order for certain people to profit. If you follow the money, you know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to get deep into that today, but to be honest, the fact that Donald Trump is reeling it back to through the drill baby drill thing so that we can become less dependent on Russia. A lot of people keep babbling, oh, he's a Russian agent, he's Putin's puppet. If that was the case, why during his terms we drill more oil domestically and we depended less on oil? So we are profiting Russia less. Also, then Donald Trump called out, and I discussed that on this channel. If you go back to my news, and even if you look it up yourself, don't take my word for it. Donald Trump was the only president that called out Germany, which is one of the countries that complains the most about being overrun by Russia. But they are the ones that purchase fuel and other goods from them the most. So they keep funding the country they say they're scared of. And that was very scary, because then the United States, like Marquis commented earlier, the United States is the one that puts the most amount of their GDP into NATO to keep it going. And NATO is no other than just a war machine, because the Soviet Union is not coming back. I don't know who thinks that the Soviet Union is coming back. Like, that's not coming back. So, like, people are just, there's no evidence of that. Like, you can fearmonger all you want, but the Soviet Union is not coming back anytime soon. I'm going to skip over a little bit this because I want you guys to listen more. But look at what we depend on. Import from Russia. And you're going to see a sharp increase in all of these things because we don't produce them out here. Okay? And those things are mineral fuels, oil distillation products, pearls, precious stones, metals, coins, iron, and steel. So even building, I don't know how he's going to do his. Now, have you guys noticed how expensive it is to renovate today compared to 3 years ago? This is why. You keep cheering on this thing so that the people are like, oh, like you're just a Russian agent. No, no, no. building today, because you guys cheer on this chat without looking deep into how that translates into you spending more money into on affordability, which is one of the biggest problems in America today. You guys cheer on your own detriment, because this list is long. I can guarantee you that. And one of the things that it's very expensive to do today is renovate. So you're either going to be stuck in a starter home that looks like crap, or you're not going to be able to get new building unless costs an arm and a leg. And that is because of this war, because it happened just after the pandemic. So we could never replenish on none of these materials. Everything was backed up, so everything went up, and now nothing like went back or snapped back to pre-pandemic prices because we went into this war with the supplier. Now let's continue. Infrastructure bill, but let's continue. Fish, crustaceans, mollusks, aquatics, invertebrate, I'm sorry. Inorganic chemicals, precious metal, compounds, isotope fertilizers, aluminum, wood and articles of wood, wood charcoal, base metals. Back again to that building material shortage or building material upcharges. It's not specified elsewhere. Cement, aircraft, spacecrafts. But how many aircrafts have we seen failing lately? Let's continue. Arms and ammunition, parts and accessories, nickel, machinery, nuclear reactors, boilers, commodities not specified according to kind, electrical, electronic equipment, organic chemicals, articles of iron or steel, plastics, oilseed, oligarchic fruits, grains, seeds, fruits, optical photo, technical, medical apparatus. And it continues: salt, sulfur, earth, stone, plaster, lime, cement, works of art collected, pieces and antiques, furniture, lighting signs, prefabricated buildings, lead, beverages, spirits and vinegar, miscellaneous edible preparations, ore, slag, and ash, milling products, malt, starches, inulin, wheat, gluten. So even bread's gonna get more expensive. Essentially, and is it bread more expensive? Aren't we not seeing online more and more people doing sourdough lately? Oils, perfumes, cosmetic, toiletries, railway, tramway locomotives, rolling stock equipment, and the list continues to edible fruits, nuts, peel of citrus, fruit, melons, vehicles of other than railway, tramway, edible vegetables and certain roots and tubers, meat, fish, seafood preparations, toys, games, sport requisites, tools, implements, cutlery of base metals, cereal, flour, starch, milk, preparations, and products. So even if you're trying to buy a cake for your damn birthday, it's going to be more expensive. Are we not seeing the revolution of over? Have you not guys seen like the TikTok Walmart cake controversy? This is what I'm talking about. People are not buying these things no more because they cannot afford it. Soaps, lubricants, waxes, candles, modeling pastes, ceramic products, miscellaneous chemical products, and the list goes on and freaking on. These are all the things that we import from Russia. So it goes back to what I am saying. You might think that this is something that's happening far away. So you think it's not going to create any issues because it's far away. But it's like the same thing I said yesterday with the Freedom Convoy that's coming to a city near you. An extra layer of inflation is coming to a pocket near you. And boy, was I right 3 years ago. What did I say? What did I say? It came to a pocket near you? Where are all the people that were saying that we needed to protect Ukraine? They're back in the cave already? And it's everywhere because our politicians don't care anymore because they are owned. They don't care anymore if you have to pay more for things, even though the dollar that you have today, if you have $1 today, you used to have 96 cents in 2019. Today in 2022, your dollar is 83 cents. So when things get more expensive now, because we're at war with these people that we need for all the things that I named, don't take my word for it, look it up. How much do you think your dollar is going to stretch? Today is valued at 3 cents. Let's continue. And this is what I keep stressing, and I'm going to keep stressing it, folks. This is the people you vote for. This is the people that you yelled at us all 2020 to vote for. You bullied us to vote for these people. Even if it costs you your economy, even if it costs you at the pump, even if it costs you in furniture, gas, flour, bread, sugar, wool, construction, steel, aluminum, vehicles, medical equipment, even if it costs you all of those things, vote for these people. No, I won't. And we won't anymore. And I want to leave you guys by reminding y'all
Pay attention
that we
to this.
won't continue down this trend and we won't do these things anymore. If you want to vote for the people that you sympathize with, you're going to be left alone because we are already seeing through the cracks of this administration. And I'm not saying this because people will say, oh, you're a Republican, you're this, you're that. No, I am not. I'm a pro me can. Pro me can. Whatever puts more money in my pocket, I will vote for. And that's the way it should be. So guys, that has been just my perspective on things. You might think the Russia-Ukraine situation is not going to cost you anything, but trust me, right now your dollar is worth it. And if you don't wake up and do it very fast, it's coming to a pocket near you. I hope this has given you a little bit more perspective and started the conversation popping. If you're watching the replay or if you're watching me live, make sure.
Now, you guys saw that. And to the people that think that I'm some form of oracle, or that, oh, she knows so much, she's just so smart. No, it's this is just normal stuff that you can research too. Anybody can see this. Anybody that cares to comment on the situation can look up what's going on, and they will know how to quote unquote predict these things. So like I said, I do feel for the federal employees that are being let go, but at the same time, can we afford to keep them? No. I see that Logix Finance says send AOC first to fight for Ukraine since she loves them so much. Yeah, 100%. Also send her to Gaza. Nancy Tremboye says, I wonder how many of those goods we have or can produce here in the United States, but choose not to. Yeah, under all of these administrations, to be honest with you, we have let go of manufacturing a lot, and we can do a lot of stuff we choose not to because it's not profitable to do so because American labor costs more. Now, Logix Finance says America was a net exporter of energy as of 2018, but Biden shut down the U.S. drilling. Yeah, the whole fracking BS. Now, let's focus on the task at hand. The whole Russian agent situation. How did this problem came to happen? How did it? A lot of people have shared have brought up the Budapest Memorandum, and I'm going to explore here what that memorandum was about so that people can understand what's going on. People are like, oh, we were forced to surrender our nuclear weapons. Those nuclear weapons were not Ukrainian weapons, but we're gonna read this. And before people start talking ish, after World War II, that NATO was formed and the Soviet Union tried to, push people's bottom, and the Cold War situation happened, etc., etc. NATO was formed to keep Russia from taking over Europe. And the only reason the United States got involved is because at some point we were going to be also in like under this threat. And also, let's not forget, the United States of America has better military than Europe does. Europe spend their money on themselves. We're supposed to always be the tribute. Okay. Now, going back to the Budapest Memorandum, let's go and see when this Ukrainians are talking about oh, like we were forced to like sign this, and we need to honor what they agreed here in 1994, blah 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 blah. And I get that. Yes, we have to honor it, but to what extent? And it was honored. I'm going to explain to you here today why this is not, you're asking us to honor this, but this was BS. And we're going to get there. Let's continue. The memorandum that we're talking about here was done under President Clinton in 1994 with President Yeltsin and Ukrainian President Kravchuk. And you can see them here shaking hands in Budapest, in Moscow, I'm sorry. And it says the memorandum signed in Patriot Hall at the Budapest Convention Center with the U.S. Ambassador Donald M. Blinken, amongst others in attendance, prohibited Russia, the United States, the United Kingdom, and France from threatening or using military force or economic coercion against Ukraine, Belarus, and this is a European name, Kazakhstan, except in self-defense or otherwise in accordance with the Charter of the United Nations. As a result of other agreements and the memorandum between 1993 and 1996, Belarus, Kazakhstan, and Ukraine gave up their nuclear weapons. Okay? That was the agreement. That was the memorandum. In other words, they were going to give Russia their weapons, their nuclear weapons that were in Ukraine's possession, because Ukrainians always want to act gangster. So, of course, the U.S. had to intervene and calm them down because they're both very rowdy. And they had to make them reason, hey, we'll keep you safe. Nothing's going to happen. Russia's not going to attack you. Calm down. Give them back their toys, right? And they agreed to that. Now, you might ask yourself, because a lot of people have said, oh, but like if Russia went against this, and when they went against this, that's when we went into this war. No, there was an agreement when the Soviet Union fell back into his butt with NATO, that we agreed with them when peace was achieved. Our agreement that predates this memorandum, I want to emphasize on that. It predates the memorandum. Our agreement was we were not going to expand NATO. And we expanded NATO at least 26 times after that agreement. And why am I bringing this up? Very simple. Ukraine want to play innocent and victim today. But before all of this happened, because they want to bring, 2015, they started already threatening us. Okay, so what happened in 2002? What happened in 2002? This is the date. I'm going to put it out here. This is not a Denise thing. You can look this up yourself. NATO Ukraine Action Plan. This is 22nd of November of 2002. And it says the action plan was created pursuant to the decision of the NATO Ukraine Commission to deepen and broaden the NATO-Ukraine relationship, and reflects Ukraine's strategy, not the United States, not Europe, not Russia, not Germany, Ukraine's strategy on relations with the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, known as NATO. So what happened that kept Russia on high alert that they needed at some point to put Ukraine in its place, that they wanted to participate in NATO? And this was 2002. It says it builds upon the charter on a distinctive partnership signed in Madrid on 9th of July of 1997. So you mean to tell me that just 3 years after they lied in Moscow and said, we're gonna get protected, we're gonna surrender this, and we're gonna be in peace, and no one's gonna get attacked, you already started plotting to quote unquote defend yourself from Russia when you shook hands with them 3 years ago? And you said, I'm going to give you this in good faith. We're going to negotiate in good faith. So that's that. Sometimes people have short memories and don't read enough. When you saw Zelensky say, "Oh no, he came and threatened us. They didn't honor the treaty." No, you didn't honor the treaty. You didn't honor the treaty. And just because people don't read enough, you're using that as an excuse to say that Russia started the war. You started the war. And you want to tie us and rope us into a war that we're not going to go to. And that is what's going on here, people. And this is basic stuff. I'm not going to get deep into it because you guys know I like to provide crumbs, but I like you guys to look deeper into stuff. This is 2002. And they already started doing this 3 years after they shook hands with Russia and said, yes, we're going to be your friend. That's basically like your friend at school that turns into your enemy because you both like the same guy. And at some point you're like, okay, he likes you better, so you can have him there. But you're plotting over here with your own group of friends to do something to that girl. That's how this looks like. So how do we get to where we at right now? I'm going to give my brief opinion because I want to keep this under an hour. Well, just a little on an hour. How do we get here? Very simple, if you ask me. We get here because people like Trudeau, and I've spoken about Trudeau plenty on this channel. People like Trudeau, like Macron, and all the European leaders thought with Obama and Biden, because this started under the Obama administration. This was Obama. Obama loved to go to war. That he is a war-hungry person. And they all thought that Russia was weak and that they could take Russia. And this is my opinion. You don't have to believe this, right? This is my opinion. They all thought, hey, we can divide Russia. We can go in. They must be starving. They must be weak. Because, of course, they don't have conversations with Russia, so they don't really know these things. They are assuming Russia was weak. And I said here, I even used Radical Latino as an example, and I said, imagine if I give my kids knives to go play and stab Radical's kids, and he's my neighbor. I use that example verbatim. Just because I want Radical's home and I want him to move. That's basically how this war started. This was a proxy war, and I said it several times. America and European nations just went greedy. That's why they kept expanding NATO. And they've been emboldening Ukrainians, telling them, oh, you're gonna rule over the half of Russia. You're gonna expand your territory. We're gonna back you up. Russia's weak. We got this. They embolden him and all the Nazi battalions that they are. Because let's not forget, people also are forgetting that shit. These are the remnant of the Nazis. And you can argue with me all day and all night if you want. But Azov, one of the most biggest Ukrainian battalions, is a Nazi battalion. And Nazis were the people that we fought in the past. But because the European countries and the United States under the Obama administration, and of course Biden, because it's the same administration, when they thought, oh, we can go in and get some profit out of Russia, because of course those minerals are worth a lot of money and territory too, they started emboldening Ukrainians. Or go into this war. You need your sovereignty. You can get this done. We're going to help you out. And that's what they placed Zelensky and supported him and installed him there. Because he would be the perfect person to do this. And what happened to Ukrainians? They fucked around and they found out. Because Russia is stronger than it was back in 2022. You poke the sleeping giant, and now when you realize, oh shit, we crapped out, we fucked up. We fucked up. Now that Russia showed his ass, And it's telling you, back up. What happens when the bully fucks with the quiet kid in school? The kid that doesn't mess with nobody, but is quiet, and people are like, well, I don't want to mess with him. What happens when the bully goes after the quiet kid? We went after the quiet kid with our bully selves, using Ukraine, emboldening Ukraine. Oh, go fuck with Russia. Go poke them. Go bombard them. Go use long range stuff on them. Let's see what happens. What happened? And now that Ukrainians are dying left and right, they need manpower to continue this war because there's no other way, because they realize, hey, now I have to go all the way through the war because I'm worse today than I was when I started the war. I lost terrain already to Russia. Russia has a lot of cities from Ukraine. I have to relinquish to the United States my minerals. And I lost 1 million people in this war and counting. So they're better, they're worse than they were when they started. So they have no other choice but to continue. And now the United States saying no more. European countries only contributed food and a little help, a little blankies here because they kept fucking with the Russians. And now Nazis don't like their outcome and are trying to bully us into their war. No, sir. No, ma'am. We're not fighting Russia for you. Hashtag I am not going. And for the ones that forget, I also did a stream here. We exchanged the Merchant of Death. You know what? I'm going to give you guys an exercise here in the comment section. I'll shout out whoever tells me what was the Merchant of Death doing when he got arrested. Please put it in the chat. Whoever does it, I'm going to leave you on the screen. What was the Merchant of Death doing when we arrested him? Because that's another thing people just don't get. So now when we say, oh, European leaders are so cute, they're doing photo ops. Yeah, those are the same MFer countries that went into war, did the World War II shenanigans when President Roosevelt was in office and America wanted peace, and they roped us into a war. That's what happened. They roped us into a war because they were not winning. Yeah, Logix, he was an arms dealer, but he was doing something specifically. I discussed it on this channel. If you're a Latin explainer, you know exactly what he was doing and why America apprehended him. You can look it up. Take your time. I'm going to keep talking, but he was doing something very specific. And that's something that sends a chilling feeling down my spine. We're not going into this war. Zelensky can keep fighting for his ego because he don't want to admit, yeah, these people prop me up and I cannot. It's like that girlfriend that like her friends tell her, yeah, go slap your man. And then when she goes and slaps her man that's calm and chill and relaxed, her man tells her, hey, don't keep slapping me. She keeps slapping him because her friends embolden her. And her man is like, you know what? If you keep slapping me, I'm going to have to slap you to calm you down. And she thinks he's playing. She keeps slapping him. And then one slap and everything goes quiet. And now she's trying to cry to her friends. Oh, come slap my man with me. That's Ukraine. And the other girls are like, no, he's too strong. I'm not doing that. I'm not. Nobody told you to slap him. You should not listen to us. That's Ukraine. That's Ukraine. I'm going to give you guys 1 more minute to find out. I know exactly what it is. I don't even have to look it up. I know exactly what it is because I discussed it here and there. When we were exchanging the Merchant of Death for a mediocre basketball player. No, he was not trafficking fentanyl. The Merchant of Death was also known. I'm going to reveal it to the people that don't know. The Merchant of Death was known for being a mercenary that had a fleet of airplanes. And in those airplanes, he will land at different destinations around the world with military grade weaponry. And he will sell that to terrorists that wanted to do coups or takeovers and stuff like that. And the reason why he got arrested by the United States is because he was selling weaponry to terrorists that wanted to take down military American airplanes. And they were being successful at it. So he was targeting pilots and jets. That's what we arrested this guy on. And we gave him back to Russia because that's what they demanded. And you tell me that you want us to go over there and fight this proxy war with you? Nobody told you to listen to a demented president. Nobody told you to listen to Trudeau. If they wanted to fight, that's why when you have a country and you're a citizen, you have to know who you vote for. You shouldn't have voted Zelensky in. You shouldn't have picked that guy or prop him up. If I was Ukrainian, I would organize to take that guy. Either you have 24 hours to stay in France and relinquish your position, or we're gonna send you with the Lord. Because you don't fight wars for others. You don't. And like I showed back then on Friday, Ukraine is the most corrupt European nation. We, through The Guardian, reported that back in 2015. Go back to Friday. I posted that. That's Zelensky. That is Zelensky. He's doing this for profit. Don't think for a second that he's not profiting off of this. So he doesn't care if it costs Ukrainians all the fathers, the brothers, the sons. He don't care. He don't care. So at the end of the day, to the people that are saying that if you disagree with these wars, that you're a Russian agent, show them this video and tell you without blaming Donald Trump and without telling us that we're ignorant, to tell us why we should, why they disagree with the video. Let's do that during this week. Like, I'm giving you just crumbs, right? You can expand from here. You can formulate your own more arguments, like more in depth. But I'm just going to say this is just surface level. I can go deeper. If you're a recurrent Latin explainer, you know I can go deeper. I can definitely go deeper. I'm choosing not to on purpose. We're not going into this war. And not because we love Russia, not because we love Putin, not because we're Russian puppets. We're not going into this war because nobody told Ukrainians to listen to a demented man in office, to allow a greedy, corrupt president to use their family members and their loved ones to enrich himself. And nobody told Ukrainians to listen to Trudeau, Macron, and all the European leaders that are doing lip service but are not funding this war. Because they're doing photo ops. I want to see them open their wallets. And if after you hearing all this, hearing all of this arguments, you're still doing, oh, I stand for Ukraine, go fight. They're recruiting now for their National Guard. You can go as a private citizen. There's also a donations page. You can go donate. That you can make a one-time donation of $100. If everybody gives $100, you can keep feeding into Zelensky's ego. Go ahead and do that. But we are not fighting. Over here, we're chilling, waiting for a Doge dividend, snitching on people that are abusing the federal government. Okay? We have our own problems. I'm not saying Americans are perfect. I'm not saying Donald Trump's perfect. But Donald Trump, in my opinion, is crazy as fuck. But he's right on this one, guys. He's right. Okay? It is what it is. You might not like it. You might not like it, but he's right. And to see a president call for peace, I cannot understand for the life of me why that will piss you off. Okay, this country used to be a country of hippies that will camp for days and months at parks, demanding the end of wars. Stop being a bot. And it's crazy that it's older people being bots for the establishment. Stop being a bot. We're an anti-war citizenry. We don't like wars. And if you do, again, I'm pretty sure you get asked to be sent to Ukraine and have at it. With that being said, guys, I am glad and happy everybody joined and had like a little bit of time to laugh it up and chop it up. Pissed off Mondays is going to be a thing. I know people are going to get pissed because I said all these things, but it is what it is, guys. It is what it is. I'm going to go back to my little life. Look at Rad. I know it's too good to be true. Rad, you've been busy snitching on people abusing the system. We know all about you. And I know Jose is hiding, but Jose probably is like, hey, I want my Doge dividend to be 8,000. So I'm going to snitch on everybody that I think is suspicious. But anyway, guys, I'll be back Wednesday. And Wednesday, please bring people because Wednesday I'm going to go deep into why Donald Trump is in the very similar position as President Roosevelt. I postponed that show for 2 weeks and I'm going to do it. You guys are going to see so many similarities. And mostly why I want to do that show is so that you guys can understand where in history we're at and what to expect. You don't want to miss that show. That show's going to be really good. So if you guys rock with me, come back Wednesday, guys, because it's going to be really, really, really good. Morena, what you mean? Are we still going to have access to that, to the Doge dividend? Yeah, 100%. 100%. If you pay taxes, like you have a tax return, yeah, you're gonna have your $5,000. Anyway, guys, it's been a pleasure. I love you. Come back Wednesday. Make sure you put that bell for notifications. Wednesday is gonna be lit. You want to have your snacks, your wine, your popcorn, your beer, whatever the hell it is you want to do. Take a shower before the show. Do whatever you have to do, but make sure you come back here Wednesday because, like I said, it's going to be lit. You want to be here for that show. It's going to be really, really, really good. With that being said, guys, it was a pleasure to be here. It was another episode of Pissed Off Mondays here on Latin Explaining with Denise, and I am out. Peace.